Today we are in very windy Germany with the new Mazda6e. My name is Peter and in this video I'm going to show you around this new generation Mazda 6. And it is an important car for Mazda because it is one of their best sellers, and I think starting here from the front we can see that that typical Mazda Kobo design is still very much alive today. You can also see that I've left the front open because we're going to start with the party piece of this car, and that is the 72-liter frunk area. Very, very nice. In a car this size you want a lot of storage, of course, and it is super nice. That's something that Volkswagen can't do, for example. Mazda says yes, we can, with this giant extra space. So that is great for your overall luggage capacity. Put that back down. Here on the front, a few things to notice. You can't see it so well here, but this is all illuminated, and the logo as well, so that makes for some night time goodness. And we have the air curtains here on the side for that extra range and wind management. So that's quite good. I think overall it's a very sleek and elegant car, despite its size. 1.90 m wide, 4.92 m long, here in this copper. I think it looks pretty good. It's an elegant vehicle, with some winks to the past, like these four tail light elements that we know from as far as back as the RX-7 goes. And if we open the boot here, you can see that there is also quite a lot of storage space here, 450 liters almost. So it's not class leading by any means, but still very, very practical and usable, and more than enough space for your family holiday. No features really here in the back. There's no hooks or no attachment points or anything. There is a subwoofer as part of the 14-speaker Sony system. And we have a little bit of underfloor storage here for your triangle and your tire kit and so on. Now, before it's going to start pouring rain here, I think Mazda has pulled the design off. It looks really nice, especially because nowadays everybody's moving to SUVs and crossovers, but this is still a sedan shape. So lower to the ground, flatter profile, and I think all-round good-looking car. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Is this a car that we should see more, this kind of vehicle, or is this all over and we really need to move on and get on with things and drive SUVs instead? Here in the front of the Mazda 6e, it is a huge departure from the Mazdas that we've driven in the past few videos. It's all new digital fancy equipment, so a very big step that Mazda has taken there with this 6e. For the sake of accuracy, I got the spec sheet here. Everything you see here is the tan leather and suede cloth woven quilting interior. For the people that want to note that down. There is also a light version and a full black version with leatherette available. So that is what you see. There is also good news in terms of the piano black situation, because there is none throughout the cabin, except the place where you will touch the most, the steering wheel. Unbelievable that on the one place where they put it is where you're constantly adjusting things with your car. Unbelievable. I don't understand. If somebody can explain to me who made this decision, I would love to meet that person and to see what kind of drugs he's taking, because that is unbelievable. The other thing that I'm not entirely sure about is the chrome accents in this version. There's chrome here on the door, around the middle console, framing the steering wheel, framing all the vents. Not really my taste, to be honest. So, you know, also something to consider. Space-wise, it feels airy in here, but it feels airy as a sedan should. Obviously, there's a lot less height in the cabin in terms of comparison to an SUV. And you can see that because with my 183, there's only this much space left to the roof, and the seat is in its lowest position at the moment. So if you're taller than, I'd say, 190, if you go towards 190, it becomes a bit of an issue. And that goes for the rear even more, but we'll get to that in a minute. If we do our regular tour, we start with good news in terms of window operation, normal buttons, but no buttons for the mirror control. So you got to do that on the screen. So that's too bad. But all the vents, for example, are manually adjustable both in height and direction. So that is excellent. For temperature and fan speed, you got to be in the screen. So there's a big departure in terms of a lot less buttons compared to previous Mazdas. The steering wheel is different too. It's not a normal circle anymore, but it now has a flat bottom, which is fine. It helps me get in and out easier. And that piano black or button clusters here on the left and the right. Then we get to something interesting. The first is the drive selector here on the right. Nothing special in itself. We know that from a lot of other brands, works just fine. but it is basically touching the central infotainment screen. There is this much space in between, which is not that much of an issue if you have your hands on the steering wheel and you want to sort of activate the cruise control, for example, because that's what you use this stalk for as well. But when you have your hands somewhere else and you want to put it in reverse, it's very easy to hit the screen or to sort of miss the stalk. Like logistics-wise, ergonomic-wise, that is not the best solution. What is also not a good solution is the wiper stalk. So that stalk does your indicators as you expect, and also your high beams. And there's a button that you can press for the window washer. All is fine so far. But if you want to do something with your wiper settings, apart from the automatic setting, you have to be in the screen and fiddle through some menus. Now you can map those to the two adjustable shortcut keys here, but why would you want to do that? Why is this a solution to a problem that didn't exist? I don't understand why they couldn't have just stuck with a stalk. Because it's just inconvenient, to be honest. And it's also not necessary to have to remap my wiper settings to a button on the steering wheel. It's too complicated for a problem that didn't exist in the first place. But it does all work together relatively well. Once you have gone through the learning curve, all is fine, I think. I've had this car for a few hours now, and it's, you get used to it. Through the steering wheel, we have a big sensor bulb here for your attention warning, drowsiness warning, and so on. And then we have the new driver's display from Mazda that works in conjunction with the new head-up display from Mazda. Now, especially the head-up display is quite the feat. They're very proud of it. All the things that it can do with your navigation and all the information that you can customize there. It actually works really well. But you do have to take some time to go through it to see how you prefer it, because there's a lot of information available, but luckily they allow you to tone that down. You don't have a full Christmas tree in your windscreen all the time. The same goes for the driver's display. You got anything. I got my tire pressure on there now, but you can put anything from your Navi to your stated charge, your kilometers and so on. All can be there. Then the big one, the new infotainment screen. Well, that is a huge departure obviously from the screens that we've been seeing in Mazdas in previous videos with the rotary dial. This is a full state-of-the-art modern infotainment system up to modern standards. So that is a big step, and I'm curious to see if we will also start to see that in other Mazda models. A few mistakes are still there though, because right now we're looking at the car in its correct color, so that is great. You can even move it around, so that is even better. But then we go one menu down and it becomes a generic white version with the incorrect color. It's such a disappointment. You spend 50K on a car and they can't even get the color right. It is so bad. And the same goes for the driver's display. I personally feel that is unforgivable in today's day and age. The system itself is fine. It works good, it's fast, it's snappy, it does everything you want from a modern infotainment system, albeit a bit complicated at times. There's a lot you can customize in terms of the things you want to see and the widgets you want and where you want them, so that's great. But if, for example, if you go to the car menu and I want to adjust my speed warning settings, is it in vehicle settings? Is it in driving modes? Is it in smart driving? Where is it? So it's a bit of a learning curve to find where they've put things. But once you get the hang of it, it is all fine. Then a little bit down, 2 vents, 2 inductive charging pads and 2 cup holders. So that is all pretty standard, and a very clean middle tunnel because they've moved everything away and put it in the screen or on the steering wheel or this stalk behind for the drive selector. Then we have a big opening here under the armrest, so that's fine too. And under this floating middle part, there's also another storage bin with some USB charging. So all is well there. Overall, it's a nice airy cabin, like I already said, for a sedan, so that's good. You can see the panoramic roof giving a lot of extra light to the interior. That is also very good. I don't think it's strictly necessary for this brown or for a light interior, but when you go for the black one, obviously that is a great thing to have. I'm pretty comfortable here too. These seats are excellent, heated, cooled, ventilated, all the things that you expect, of course, in this category of car. And it's a good place to be also for a longer journey. So long highway journeys, no issue. You have a decent range in this car as well. But also city driving, you have a good overview. The steering wheel can slide through your hands easily. So overall, it's a nice place to be. Now, obviously, we got to do a little bit of driving in this Mazda6e. And right off the bat, we can use that 258 horsepower drivetrain to our advantage. It is a lot of talking about perfect weight distribution, 47-53, and rear-wheel drive, of course, that Mazda is quite proud of. That should make this car pleasant to drive, and I have to admit they are correct. It's often interesting to hear a lot of blah blah in press briefings and so on, and then to correspond that with the real-life performance of a vehicle. But I have to say, in this case, it is a vehicle that is pleasant to steer, even through these sort of kinks and faster turns. And then you have that power to lean on afterwards. It's very pleasant. It's very nice as we get on to a little bit of highway here. So, you know, as far as that goes, job well done by Mazda with this 6e. Of course, in the end, it is a big, heavy sedan. It's by no means an MX-5, but it is always nice to have a car that responds well to your inputs. It's predictable in its outputs and is overall a pleasant vehicle to maneuver through traffic. We did a few smaller city driving earlier today, and also there it is, of course, a large vehicle, but it's relatively easy to place, and I have a good sense of what the car is doing around me, so that makes it pleasant to drive also when the environments get slightly smaller. I have to say it is a huge departure from the Mazdas that I've driven in the past few weeks, coincidentally, to have this sort of minimalistic, everything in the screen approach. It's very different. Not sure if I like all of it. You know, it's nice, especially the infotainment system when you're stationary and you want to put in navigation, for example. It is the modern way. It's very pleasant to use, and once you get the hang of the menus, all is well there too. But on the other hand, if I want to adjust my temperature and my ventilation slightly, then I don't have anything to turn or twist. I have to go to the menu and find the place and the things that I want to do. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix in terms of, do I like all of it? Certainly not, but I do think it is the modern way. And it is nice to see that Mazda has taken this step. Obviously, we got to touch on prices and versions. I got the prices for the Netherlands here. This one is the standard range with the 68.8 kilowatt hour battery, and 44,990 euros is the starting price. For the Takumi Plus is just under 47,000. So 2,000 euro difference. If you go up to the 80 kilowatt hour long range version, then that starts basically at the same, 46,590 for the Takumi, and the Takumi Plus is 48,540. So all very attractive pricing, but there is a problem. This standard range version has, I got the spec sheet here again, a quoted range of 479 kilometers, which is 75 less than the long range version. So 75 kilometers only range difference, even though the battery is significantly bigger in the long range one. It's a different battery technology though, and that is the big one, because the long range one can only charge at 90 kilowatts maximum charge, where this standard range one can charge at 165 kilowatts fast charging. So that is a huge difference, I think. And Mazda says, yeah, but the long range is for people that want to drive further, obviously, and only charge at home and at the destination and don't really care about fast charging in between. Be that as it may, 90 kilowatt hours is not acceptable anymore, I feel, in this day and age. 165 is fine, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I think that is at least the speed that you want for a car in this category. So I would always go for this version, the standard range version, 75 kilometers less range. I don't think that's the end of the world, especially not if you can charge twice as fast, because this one will do 10 to 80% in 24 minutes, where the long range does it in well over 45 minutes. So, you know, as far as that goes, you can drive slightly less far, but the charging speed more than makes up for it. And other than that, they're exactly the same. Same powertrain, slightly different power output, but it's only a few horsepower, same torque levels and everything. And also the sprint times are virtually identical. So I would always go for this version just because it can charge faster, and I don't think that the range difference makes that much of a difference. Here in the back of the Mazda6e, there is some good news to get started, and that's obviously the volume back here, which is quite nice. Sitting behind myself with 1.83 m and about 90 kilos, I have almost a full hand of space until my knees will touch the seat. So that's great, and even if I would touch the seat, the seat backs are soft, so that is also very comfortable. What is not so comfortable is the headroom. You can already see it. If I'm putting my head against the headrest, I'm basically touching the roof with my head already. And that's with 1.83 m, like I said, so anybody taller will not fit, which is a shame because there is a lot of space lengthwise because it is a long vehicle. There is space for my feet, but not under the seat. The seat is now in its lowest position because in the front there is also a lack of height to begin with, and I like to sit lower in the car. But there is a lot of space here for my feet to move sideways because it is a flat floor, so that is okay. But I always prefer to have my feet under the seat slightly, at least for a bit more comfort. The materials and such are basically the same as in the front, so all is well there. And there's a bit of luxury too, with a seat pocket and a little screen for the aircon control, some vent controls, and even a button to press for the passenger seat to move fully forward if you have tall people back here. Which you won't, because they won't fit. And yeah, with 1.83 m, there's so much space already to the seat in front that you're never going to use that feature. Unless you have a short person that wants to stretch out fully, I suppose. There is an armrest, of course, almost unreachable, but we get it, with some cup holders that are not really premium. Little rubber flap to hold your drink in place, but they are there permanently and you're constantly in there with your wrist, so that's not so nice. And there is no ski hatch, so you can't put any through loading in there. If you want more space, you got to put the seats down, and then you get about 1,000 something liters of luggage space according to Mazda, so that is fine. What is not fine is the ISOFIX situation, because the flaps are the correct color, but they are not attached. So this will fly away instantly, as anybody with kids knows, and you'll never see these again. Can somebody explain to me how it works when you sit in a meeting to decide the ISOFIX and somebody says, yes, it has to be brown because the seats are brown and that looks nicer. And people go, good idea. And then nobody in the entire Mazda says, maybe it's better if we make this fixed to the bench. I don't understand how those kind of decisions are made. But if somebody can tell me, I'm happy to hear. The light situation back here is excellent because, of course, the panoramic roof gives a lot of extra light. The windows are fine height-wise, and there's also a lot of light coming from the front. The seats are pretty massive in relation to the size of the car. They take up a lot of space. If I go to the shoulder of the seat to the roof, that's only this far. So, you know, there is a lot of sort of view that's blocked on the left side in my case now. Looking around the seat is a bit problematic, but looking through the middle of the car is fine. And then you can also see the big screen in the front, which also helps with the driving experience back here. So in conclusion, I think that Mazda has made a significant step up with this Mazda6. As the car in itself was obviously due for a replacement, and I think this is a worthy successor of the successful 6 Series. Everything here in the infotainment department and the new ways of interacting with the car is really a step up compared to the current Mazda lineup. And I'm curious to see how much of this we'll see in all the other Mazda models. Is it all good? Certainly not. There is mistakes like the wiper settings and so on that are just, I think, need another generation of development and feedback from customers to fine-tune that. The same goes for the infotainment screen. Once you get to live with it, it's all fine, but I think they can make more steps in terms of how intuitive it is to use. And that is obviously something they can do with software updates along the lifespan of the car as well. Just the limitations of the vehicle are obviously the headroom. Anybody taller than me is probably not going to like this car all too much. And it is a distinct choice. I mean, this is a classic sedan shape, so if this is something that you like, then it's a clear choice. If it isn't, then you got to go to SUVs. That's all I got for you in this video. Thank you very much for watching this first impression of the 6e. Hope you like it. If so, give it a thumbs up. If not, let us know why. And of course, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel to see the full review of this car once we get it in our hands for a longer test. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!